list all the tables. For this we do select star from user tables. Then we get all the informations from the user tables. So we can more precisely make it select table name from user tables. Then we get a list of all the table names. Select all the columns from the employees table. Here we make select star indicating all the columns from the table name is employees. This gives us all the columns in the employees table. Show the structure of the employees table. Create a query to display the last name, job code, hire date and employee number for each employee with employee number appearing first. So the first part of the question is to show the structure of the employees table. For this we use the keyword describe. We just use describe and the table name is employees. So when we run this, we get the structure of this table. The next part is to select these column names from the employees table and then asking us to select employee number first. So query goes like this: select employee ID and then last name, job ID and hire date from this is the result. Employee ID appearing first. We've selected last name, job ID and then hire date. Show the structure of the departments table. Describe, table name is departments. Describe departments gives us the structure of this departments table. Next part is to select all data from the departments table. That will be select star indicating all the data from departments. When you run this, you get all the data. Create a query to display the department ID and manager ID from departments table. So they need only two columns. So select department ID, comma, manager ID from departments. Run this query. We get department ID values and then manager ID values. Create a query to display unique job codes from the employees table. For unique values, we use the keyword distinct. Select distinct job ID from employees table. So these are the unique or the distinct job IDs. Display the last name, job code, hire date and employee number for each employee. Name the column headings #, employee, job and hire date respectively. We have to select these columns. At the same time, we need to rename the column headings. First, we need employee ID or employee number. So select employee ID and then we have to give the aliasing inside double inverted comma. We need it as emp hash comma. Then we need the last name as employee. So select last name, alias it as employee. Then we need job ID as job. Job ID, alias it as job. And then we need hire date, and that should print as hire H capital space date. So hire date is a column name with underscore, but we want it without underscore and with a space and with a capital letter like this. Select all these columns with new names or new headings from employees table. You can see the heading is changed as emp hash, employee, job and hire date as expected, and it has all the values. Display the last name concatenated with the job ID separated by a comma and space, and name the column employee and title. So we need to do multiple things here. First of all, we need to concatenate the last name with job ID, and then we need a comma and a space in between them, and then we have to rename the column heading as employee space and space title ENT capital. Select last name. This is the concatenation operator. We have to concatenate it with a comma and a space. So put that in single inverted comma, comma, space, close it, and then again concatenate it with the job ID, job underscore ID. And we need this concatenated new value to be under the column name, this one, employee and title. So put that in the aliasing part like this, and from the table name employees. You can see the new column is employee and title. The value last name and job ID is concatenated with a comma and a space. Create a query to display all the data from the employees table. Separate each column by a comma. Name the column the output, all in caps and with an underscore. First, let's write all the column names in the select clause. Then we can use a concatenation operator to add the comma in between, and then we'll alias it. So first of all, start with select. I have listed all the required columns in select clause and also mentioned the table name. I will just organize it a bit. So right click, click on format. It looks like this. It is more neat this way. And the second part of the question is to separate each column by a comma. So between every column I need to concatenate a comma. Just remove this comma and then use the concatenation operator and then put a comma like this, and then again concatenation. Copy this and paste it everywhere in between the column names. We have done the second part, separate each column by a comma. The third part is to give the column name as the output. So just use the aliasing inside the double inverted comma we put the output. You get the output as all the column values separated by comma. There are 4 coding errors in this statement. We have to identify them. Let's start with select clause. Select employee ID, comma, last name. That looks fine. And then they're selecting one more column, but there is no comma in between. So that is one of the mistakes. And then they're selecting a column called SAL, S-A-L. I don't think there's a column name called SAL in employees table. Let's just confirm once. There is a column salary, but there is no column called SAL. So let's make it salary. Next, I assume they are making a multiplication here, but the multiplication operator is star, not the cross. Salary into 12, and they are giving an alias here. When you alias, there should be no space in between the new column name. It should be either this, or if you still need the space, the whole column name should be inside double inverted comma. So let's run this now. This is giving the correct output. The first error was there was one comma missing in between column names, and the second error was the name of the column should be proper, and the third error was for multiplication we use star. The fourth error was the aliasing name was not included inside double inverted commas.